Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you 4 key exercises that everyone with scoliosis should be doing. These exercises will be ideal if your scoliosis is causing you pain, limiting your movements, or even progressing. I'm going to show you how to apply these 4 exercises to a C-shaped scoliosis. If you have an S-shaped scoliosis, you can do these movements, but just modify them a little, or watch one of my specific videos for those curves, and I'll put the links in the description below. But before we get to the exercises, if you appreciate videos like this, all I ask for you in return is that you hit that like button or subscribe, because doing so helps out the channel tremendously. And in return, I'll do my best to respond to as many comments as possible. Thank you so much. Now let's begin. Okay, so I want you to imagine that I have a C-shaped scoliosis. That means the apex is going to be on my left-hand side like this. So we can call this a lavoscoliosis as well. So from behind, we're going to be looking at someone. The apex is going to be off to the left like that. Okay, so that's a C-shaped scoliosis. What we want to do is open up this side here. And so how are we going to do that? Well, if I was to grab hold of something over my head here, you can see that that movement of lifting my arm up and moving my head to the left would start to move the top part of the spine across like this. And that's what we want to do. So I've simply set up a resistance band holding onto a hook just up here. And all I'm going to do is let my hand come up over my head and my ribs go over to the right. So this is opening up this side. Now from here, we can take some deep breaths into this side, and that will feel like we're opening up these ribs a little bit more. So the lung on this side is compressed and pushed down. The lung on this side will want to open more as we breathe down and into that side. So holding a stretch like that for 30 seconds or 10 breaths will be a great start. Now, once you're obviously in that position, the scoliosis does have a change in what we call the sagittal plane, so that's forwards and backwards, and it will also have a change in the rotational plane as well, and that will be a rib hump. So there may be some things that you want to do to help correct those other movements, and I cover those movements in other videos. But now, on to exercise number 2. All right, this exercise might be a bit more familiar to some of you. So remember, the apex of my curve is on the left-hand side. And if I lift this arm up, I'm going to be straightening it just a little bit. But at the same time, if I drop my right hip down, I'm going to be straightening it from the bottom. So let's put those 2 ideas into practice in the cat-cow type position. Okay, so we're going to be here like this. If I take my right arm forward, I will potentially open up this side a little bit. If I take my right knee backwards a little bit, I will open up a little bit. So from here, we've pre-positioned the curve to be a little bit more open, and then we can apply the breathing in, arching the back, and then breathing out and arching the back. Now, some of you may have the apex of the curve being a little bit higher in the back or a little bit lower, and you can emphasize movement into your curve by either moving your upper back, imagining there's a light coming out of your chest, and you're moving that light up and down on your mat. So this is a movement which is a bit more focused for the upper back. I'm keeping my lower back still, tucking my pelvis just a little bit, and keeping the movement into my upper back. Or, if your rib hump is a little bit lower down, you can actually move the pelvis, or initiate the movement with the pelvis, and get that movement into there, and not move the upper body so much. Or if you want to do both at the same time, then you would imagine this light traveling down towards your knees and your pelvis sort of tucking up underneath, and then the other way, where I would take my chest to point this way, or if that light's coming out, it's pointing up here, and my lower back is also moving. Set some reps. It's really up to you, but you could do 10 to 15 movements like that, link it with your breath, and really try and segmentally move the back to the areas of stiffness, which can commonly happen around that rib hump in scoliosis. Exercise number 3. This is a variation on the farmer's carry. So remember, the apex is off to my left here, and I want to strengthen these muscles on the left-hand side. Now, how can I do that? Well, if I was to put a weight in my left hand, I would be pulling the apex open this side. Now, that is a good exercise to do, but it's not what we're going to do on this exercise. Because if we put a weight on our right-hand side, the body tenses these muscles on the left to stop you from going further into the curve. So I'm going to put a weight in my right-hand side, and I'm going to feel the difference in the muscles on the left here. All right, so with regards to weights, I'm using an 8-kilo dumbbell here. That's kind of light, actually, strangely enough. So the heavier you can do, the better, within your physical capabilities. Okay, now, so I'm going to press into my side here, and I'm going to feel these muscles working. Now, if I change hands, and I press into this side, I feel these muscles working. But if I go back to the original side, are they working as much? Not really, because the weight switches on the muscles on the opposite side. I imagine this weight's pulling me down. These muscles are contracting to hold me up. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to think about the three-dimensional nature of scoliosis, which means it changes in rotation, changes in the forwards and backwards plane, and it changes in the frontal plane, which is what we see on the x-rays. And we're actually going to walk like this. And so normal walking, maybe slightly exaggerated, okay, just normal walking, but constantly putting tension onto the muscles on the long side of the curve. This is really going to help strengthen those and strengthen them functionally to hold that curve straighter, which is important because once you've done exercise 1 in this series, you're going to have some more mobility in that curve, and now you need to be able to strengthen it, okay? So I'm not walking very far here, just forwards and backwards towards you, but you could walk 10, 15, 20 meters, carrying a nice weight in one hand, going forwards and backwards and really feeling it in that side. So this is a variation on the farmer's carry, and it's a great strength exercise for scoliosis. Scoliosis exercise number 4. So if we were to lie on our sides with that apex down like this, how would we try and correct that apex? Well, we would lift up the middle of our body this way, using the muscles on the long side of the curve in order to do that, so strengthening them and potentially helping them hold that correction. So you want to get into a side plank position, apex down, lift your hip upwards. Now we've talked about how the scoliosis can change in all 3 dimensions. So there's going to be a forward-backwards change, and there's going to be a rotation change as well. So we're going to address that in this last exercise. So what I want you to do is to get into a side plank. Now you can be on your knees, or you can be full side plank, wherever your strength capabilities are. And once you're into that full plank, pop your hand onto your hip here. Now we're using the muscles on the lower side, on the long side of the curve, to hold you here. Now I want you to go up and down. So you're going to go temporarily worse, stretching the muscles, but then better. Temporarily worse, then better. 10 to 15 of those, but then I want you to flex and extend in this position. Flex and extend. Oh, there's my little cat just come to join us. Flex and extend. And lastly, once you've done 10 of those, I want you to rotate inwards and outwards just a little bit. And this helps facilitate strength training through all the muscles of the core, and not just those ones on that long side of the curve. So 10 movements in each one of those different planes will help address some of those other changes that can happen in scoliosis. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I hope you loved this video, and let me know your thoughts below. And if you do try these exercises, drop a comment and tell me how it goes, because I'd love to hear about your progress. Now, if you have scoliosis and want to learn how to manage it without surgery, hit the link in the description to find out what you can do next. Don't forget to stay tuned, because I've got more awesome content coming your way soon. See you in the next one.